Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. We're now going to be joined by Jonathan Yahya West. He is the ASRI 2023 bylaw project lead, and to talk to us about young people raising their voices against corruption in the city of Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum to you, Jonathan. Welcome to the program. So what is this all about? We know that the Auwal Socio-Economic Research Institute, which is ASRI, you've undertaken a bylaw project to petition for transparency in the tender procurement process in the city of Johannesburg. How hopeful are you that you're going to be able to make inroads into this? I mean, corruption's been endemic in our country. I mean, good luck to you. I hope and pray it works out. I mean, it's about time someone did something about this rot in our country and in our society. But hopeful at all?
We're very hopeful. I think the most important thing we can have in times like these is hope, and I think it's actually one of the important parts of our bylaw and of our project is to get the public involved to actually instill hope into the public. So the main focus of our bylaw is transparency. And we believe that if we make these tender processes in the city of Johannesburg transparent, then the public being involved, the public having access to information, will give them more trust in the process and give them more participation in the process. And as we participate more in society, we understand what's going on in society, then maybe we can have a bit more hope in a bit of a dismal situation.
Inshallah. So talk to us about how you're going to go about making this more transparent, because I guess, people who are desperate to corrupt the situation and make as much money as they can out of the process, corrupt officials, corrupt politicians, etc., will do everything in their power to prevent this from happening on the part of ASRI and other like-minded bodies.
100%. So our main focus, as I said, is transparency. And so what we want in the tender process, once a decision has been made by the executive, we want the reason for that decision, the scores of that decision, and all what they call SPD, standard bidding documents. We want all of this information published online. So we want the executive to communicate their decision to the legislature, and the legislature communicate it to the public. And that's one of our main focuses of the bylaw, is giving that public access to the information. And so we know that corruption goes a lot deeper than just one little bylaw. But what we really want to encourage is that one step in the right direction, and specifically a step in the right direction where we're getting the public involved in the process and giving the public access in the process. We believe those types of steps will make us slightly less apathetic and a bit more encouraged to join part of politics.
Okay, two questions. And how do you get the public involved? How are you going to disseminate this very important information for the public to get involved? And what sort of responses have you received, probably by, the city of Johannesburg, politicians and other such bodies? Have you already kind of felt any pushback, or are they, using a wait and see approach?
So how we plan to publish this information is actually on the COJ website. So the COJ website already has different tabs relating to tenders. They're already trying to publish information, trying to make it accessible. Where we want the COJ to take it a step further is by giving the public a chance to review decisions before the contract gets signed. So before a tender company actually has to go out and do the project, there's an opportunity, a window for the public to say, wait, no, I've seen what happened here, and I'm not happy about it. In terms of disseminating the information, the scores and the reason for the scores from the executive, from the members of the committee who voted, which should be pretty straightforward. SPD standard bidding documents might seem like complex documents, but a lot of the time they're actually quite simple. You can see a template of them online. They're actually just sort of forms that you have to fill in. So public should know, but we also do want the public who knows enough about the tender to be the main instigators to start a review process if there is something wrong with it. for example, if I know how how a pool should be built and there's a pool being built in my area, then I would take a lot of interest in the pool getting built in my area. And so when that pool or when that tender is offered, I'll get involved and I'll see, okay, this is what the company is charging. This is way too much. I know that a pool doesn't cost this much to build. I know that a pool doesn't require these materials, and then I can intervene. In terms of public response and pushback, so we've been lobbying to a lot of councillors. I think in the past month we've probably met with close to 20 councillors. And what that's meant, or the response we've got from them, has often been actually quite positive, which is quite ironic. When we sit them down and we talk to them in our ASRI space, they're always very excited. They say this is definitely something that needs to happen. They get excited about young people being involved. But when we follow up, when we send them an email a couple of days later, when we ask them for more support, or we ask them to sign on to the project, suddenly there's a bit of silence on that side. So I think dealing with politicians is dealing with politicians. It's never going to be straightforward. But I do
No
think
surprises there. No surprises there.
exactly. I do think politicians understand that there's definitely a need for a bylaw like this. They definitely understand that they almost they can't go against a bylaw like this. This is something very popular. It's a massive problem. We see this on a daily basis. We actually, our project group did an excursion to Aldo's to go look at a school, a failed tender project on a school there, and it was really just like such a clear evidence of a failure, right? I think it was probably maybe like 2 square kilometers of space with like half built buildings. The plants were bigger than the buildings at that point. They'd just been left for so long. And so seeing this and seeing that we're surrounded by these failures, obviously we can't be blind to it, and nor can the politicians, right? They're very aware of what's going on. But I think there is a bit of like a pushback in terms of some of them think that maybe this bylaw is not going far enough, so then they don't want to sign on, or they think that the bylaw is geared towards the wrong aspect of corruption. So they'll say like transparency is not the problem is mismanagement or something like that. And so we are fighting politicians, not even in terms of that they don't want to sign our bylaw or join our bylaw. It's just that they don't want to be the main advocates of it.
Okay, so obviously the transparency is, if there is transparency, there will be a huge focus on mismanagement and corruption. So I think the public has got it wrong when they seem to feel that transparency is not the answer. It is the answer.
100%.
That's going to allow you to pinpoint exactly where the problems lie and to then resolve those issues.
Exactly.
Finally, long-term plans of bylaw implementation, because, like all other well-meant projects and initiatives such as yours, you hear about it, you get pretty excited about it in the initial stages, and it seems to then die a natural death. So how are you guys going to keep this alive and pursue it till it becomes a reality?
100%. So fortunately, we have a strong cohort that a lot of us are very keen to keep pushing this forward until it needs to go into law, until it becomes something genuine. So there's a group of us who are very excited to keep it going. But beyond that, we've also got partnerships with a couple civil society organizations, who are very excited about this, and who are very excited to help us propagate this. And so one of the politicians raised a very good point that in order to get something enacted into law, it's a very long process. Even if it is a positive response you're getting, it's not just about sort of positive response. That there is obviously procedures and administration that needs to happen around it. And so really what we want is, and this was something raised by a friend of ours, is we want quality over quantity. So at this point, we've only started this project. We've been active for about 2 months. And within these 2 months, we've gotten 5,000 signatures. So I think
Wow.
those numbers really speak to the public and to how the public feel about this. And so if we put our focus on quality and in mobilizing all these 5,000 and the next 5,000 that come and getting them excited about this and really making noise about this and coming on to radio shows and media such as this and really getting people excited about it, I think that's our biggest route. And then obviously as we partner with civil society organizations, we can sort of tap into their resources, tap into their followings, and really get people involved. And I think that's the best way to go about this, because what we've really noticed is that politicians are politicians, as you pointed out. And so going about this by just lobbying to politicians and just trying to force them to act out and speak out in council, that's going to be an even longer process. And so what we really want is we want to create so much pressure, so much of a noise, so much activation within the community, mobilization, that the city of Johannesburg almost feels like they have to put this into law. And so for our next few steps, it really is interviews like this, just trying to get this message out to the public that we're doing this and we want your support. We want like numbers, we want voices, we want social media presence, and really that's our main focus, because yeah, as I said,
Okay,
politics is
inshallah. Inshallah, we here at Salam Media will help you raise those voices as loud as we possibly can, keep this alive and make it happen. Thank you indeed, Jonathan Yahya West, ASRI 2023 Bylaw Project Lead. Please don't let this fizzle into thin air now. Just keep going at it. Nice talking with you. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah. Wa alaikum salam.
It is exactly 8:52 a.m. News and Views on Salam Media. Standing by to talk to us is President of Sahuk, and that, of course, is Shaheen Isup.